Hey guys, we are back for stage 4 of the Zwift games, the second to last mass start stage, I believe. Stage 5, yeah, and then stage 6 is like you can do either a steering crit or some kind of time trial. But second to last, normal stage of the Zwift games. We are on Peaky Pavé, and uh, as we know, they've been getting harder and harder as they go along, and this one was definitely a big step up from last week. Last week we had the 2 climbs at the start, middle climb, 3 climbs at the end, but those were all fairly short. A minute, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes for the longest ones. This one is a little bit different. So we have, as you can see here in the profile that I've already pulled up, a little bit of a flat start, and then a bumpy section, just sort of undulating, and then we have the reverse petite KOM, and then at the end we have the petite KOM forward, and then there's another little bump here, and some cobble strewn around. So this climb, I've shown the grade here. It's about 6 or 7% at its steepest. For me, it's like for the fastest riders, it's like a 5-minute climb. For my category, it's maybe a 6 to 7, 7 plus kind of climb, and that's the same both ways. It's about the same elevation total both ways. The reverse is a little bit more stair steppy, and the regular side is a little bit more even, although it has its own stair step elements. So we'll go ahead and get the race started. I was not optimistic going into this race. First of all, I think that I've recognized my own strength as a rider, currently at least, is sprinting, and more of an endurance is definitely more of a challenge for me. So even like these 5-minute climbs are a lot more difficult for me than a 3-minute climb. And honestly, the training I've been doing recently has really sort of not not done anything to make up for that weakness. It's been, I mean, the hardest workouts I'm doing have been these Zwift races, which are shorter. They're 25 minutes. I think the first one was about 25 minutes, 30, 35 last week or something like that. So I'm not really getting like long endurance sessions, and I haven't been doing long hours. I've only been doing like 6-7 hours a week maybe. And then last weekend, I made plans to go out and do a longer ride on Sunday. But on Saturday, I went and did my first group ride of the year, and I went probably way too deep. I don't know. You get out there with other people, you get sort of carried away, competitive. I wasn't trying to be competitive, but I was sort of carried away. I was like, oh, I want to show how much stronger I am, having actually ridden over the winter, whereas the previous year I was coming in sort of from taking the whole winter off. So I wanted to prove, not necessarily to other people, but sort of to myself, that the consistency in the training was paying off. And I did probably set some new personal power records on some of those climbs. It's tough to tell because I didn't have a power meter last year, and all the weather conditions and stuff were way different. But I felt like I was very strong last week on Saturday, and then Sunday I was totally gassed from it. I had planned to go out and do like a long ride on Sunday. I ended up just doing a short, easy ride, and then even like Monday, I was still gassed. Tuesday is actually when I planned to do this race. Tuesday? No, I was trying to do it Monday, but I was way too gassed. Tuesday I go into work, so I can't do that. And then I was going to be able to do it Tuesday night, but I was still exhausted, man. So I did just another couple easy rides Tuesday, Wednesday, and finally Thursday I was like, all right, there's no point in putting it off more. I can do this on Thursday lunch and get a nice big group, and that way, at least there's a big group to hide in the flat parts. And you can see here we are in a big pack. We got 143 riders today. I didn't even bother really looking to see who the competitors were. In some past weeks we've sort of done that, but in this category we're in the 330 to 450 again. And with my own knowledge of this sort of relative weakness, I was not worried about who was going to win. I was just sort of trying to hold on as long as I could, and see what happened. So you can see here we've gone up over one little rise in the cobbled section, and I'm already like going into the orange for that. We've been in the greens. I mean, I think my Zwift FTP got bumped up last week because I had a really strong effort right at the end of the Richmond, but I think it's overinflated. It probably thinks it's like 230, but for for long efforts, I really can't do that. I would say a more accurate FTP is maybe 220. Even that's kind of a stretch, but yeah, maybe 215. So these zones are actually showing easier than I, in my opinion, thought it was. And you can see here, like, my heart rate, even though I'm allegedly in the green, is up at 175. So I'm certainly not feeling relaxed and recovered as I should if I'm actually in the green zone. So I need to go back in and set my Zwift FTP because that's not accurate. But we're going through, so that was the cobbled section, and then next we have sort of the up and down section. If you remember, we did a similar course back in week 2 of the other series. I've already forgotten what that series was called. It was the Tour de Zwift, that's right. So back in week 2 of Tour de Zwift, we had Hell of the North, which had sort of this upcoming windy section at the start. Then it did the cobbles. Then I think it did some more cobbles, and then it did the forward Petit KOM. So the same climb at the end of the race, but without the big climb in the middle. So similar roads. And yeah, we're just going along, just trying to stay in the pack here. It wasn't easy. The other thing that happened last week is, you remember how last week I said at the end of the video, I'm not even sure, like, I believe these numbers. I don't know. I still kind of do, but my trainer did have some sort of issue. It was making a weird noise, so I hit up the customer service people at Jet Black. Always very friendly, very helpful. And they said, yeah, there's a weird noise, go ahead and send it in. So I'm back on my wheel-on trainer for this one. And back on the power pedals. And the weird thing about my wheel-on trainer this time, compared to last time I had it set up, is that I feel like the highest resistance is way lower. So I don't know if that's something about how I didn't put the rear setting tight enough, like the contact between the trainer and the wheel. I don't know, it's weird. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm stupid. I was just in the small ring the whole time. I should have just gone up to the big ring. I was so stuck in the mindset of the Zwift cog where you have to be in the small ring in the front. I didn't even think about shifting to the big ring in the front. So I'm riding around in a 36 front. That's gonna play in later. Really dumb mental error on my part. Yeah. Anyway, I was having trouble regulating my effort. You can see here, I'm going. I feel like an idiot now. See, I'm sort of surging forward from the back of the pack to the front of the pack, which is going to be happening anyway when you're in the wheel-on trainer compared to the resistance from the Zwift cog. It's a little bit tough to match your effort to the group, but trying not to put any effort in when I was actually on the front. There were a couple of times my nose poked out and I just immediately backed off. You can see that's where I dipped down to the blue or the green in the bottom section here from the normal yellow to keep up. And yeah, this was exhausting. I was already feeling like really rough, and I was not feeling optimistic about this first climb. But we are going to turn left here and then come up to it. And there's a steep section near the bottom, and then it sort of levels out. And I didn't really have a wattage target for this climb. I just sort of wanted to stay in the first half, I guess. My goal, when I sat on the bike today, was like, or yesterday, because I'm recording the video on a Friday, but my goal was to finish in the first half. So I was like, okay, try to stay in the top 70 was my goal on this first climb. So coming in, and I know the effort's going to have to ramp up shortly, so got my last drink of water before it, and looking down, and you can see me looking down, and man, are my legs going fast here. Normally on a climb I'd like to go a little bit slower than this, but I'm like, man, 94 RPM, feeling like an idiot, trying to keep up. I totally forgot that with the wheel-on trainer I can switch to the big ring. That is so stupid. It didn't make a big difference in the end. The fitness was the much bigger factor than that, but it would have been nice to be able to stand up and do some lower RPM at points. But yeah, we're going along here. Flatter section, I wanted to stay in the draft, but I was sort of keeping my... I don't know if this is the right thing to do. I was like, okay, keep my effort kind of steady, and in this flatter section maybe we can move up a little bit, but still staying in the draft. Maybe I should have backed off more in the flatter section. I don't know. Because we'll see here. It starts going uphill again, and soon enough, these people start riding away from me. Yeah, so there's a steeper section here, then one last flat section, or maybe there's another steep, then flat, steep, then flat. Yeah, here I was like, maybe we're keeping up, you know, maybe there's a little split behind us, I'll stay ahead of that. And we get to this next flat section, and I'm like sort of holding on, but at this point I'm already at 181 RPM, and I'm still not feeling 100%, guys. Like, I do not feel as strong as I did last week at this time. I've been kind of sleeping less, maybe too. There's some construction. That was another thing this week. Really loud construction, utility work. Thankfully that's over, but my sleep was not as good as it could have been this whole past week, so definitely not recovering as well as it could have been. And yeah, you can see here we're falling back. We're only halfway up the climb, and I'm trying to hold on to like this top 50. I'm like, okay, I want to sort of keep up with this group in front of me, hang on to them at least till the next steep section. Trying to do it, but at this point I think this is about when I shift down, I think, and sort of give up on this front pack here. You can see here there's a gap, you know, my draft bar is only half full, and I was trying to hold my feather, but I was like, I can't hold it any longer. I have to spend my feather here just to try to keep up in the steepest part. But I popped the feather and it didn't really help that much. There's still people going past me left and right and center, and yeah, at that point, I was like, this is doomed. Just try to hold on and make a good effort and get a good training session out of it. So I'm sitting here trying to keep this consistent effort. The wattage is not great, but I'm trying not to back off too much and then see what sort of happens on the downhill and regroup. So we'd go a little bit further to the top here. I can see the group riding away. Goodbye front group. And sort of trying to pick out who the people will be to go with me on the reverse. And this like last 200 meters to the finish was just brutal. I think I was like 53rd 200 meters ago, and I'm going to cross the climb at like 70th. And that there, you can see there the first group's gone away, second group's gone, third group's gone, and people are just still passing me. And even these last three people, I don't know if I ever saw them again. 64th, maybe I did. I don't think we need to go through the whole like descent and flat section. I'm actually going to skip forward ahead, basically to the last climb, to show sort of the race position at that point. Because yeah, basically what happened was I let those people in front of me go. I tried a super tuck here, I think, but that didn't really do much. It just slowed me down in the end. But I really needed just to get off the pedals entirely, just to catch a breath. But yeah, those people in front of me went away, then some people from behind me caught up, one or two, and then a bigger group, and then another big group. And so now we're in a group of about 20, I wanted to say, 20 or 30. I guess we did catch a couple of people who were in front of us, because it looks like front of this group's about 50th. Back of the group's maybe 80th. So yeah, coming to that last climb, and it's been, you know, allegedly down in the blue, but I was not feeling very recovered, guys. You can see there, actually, we hit 223 watts for the first 20 minutes, which is a new personal record, and we still got dropped by basically half the group. So, on one hand, heartening that we got the new power record. On the other hand, disheartening that, I don't know, disheartening, but shows the challenge and how much further there is to go in this new category I bumped up to, and how much room for growth I have in terms of aerobic fitness. So anyway, we're on the last climb now, and I'm just trying to do as well as I can on it. I didn't really have a placement goal in it. I wanted to, you know, stay in that top half, so at least 71st, but I didn't really think that, you know, a lot of these people had actually ridden away from me on the first climb. I was like, there's no way we could keep up with all of them. And then the worst thing that happened was I was trying to shift up for this, and my smallest gear in the back wouldn't shift either. So I was in the small ring in the front, and the second smallest in the back. So I think that's like a 3612 maybe instead of a 3610 or 11. So I was gonna, you know, 10 RPM, 10% faster RPM than I wanted to. And like you can see here, when it gets steeper, like here on the flat, it's not quite as bad, but when it gets steeper, and these people start going away, like I start spinning my legs like Sonic the Hedgehog, like, man, up to 95 RPM, just trying to hold on. And I don't have the high RPM practice in me to be able to do that for long. So I'm trying to keep up, but I think I'm hit almost 100 RPM at certain points. But this is where I definitely could have used the big ring if I had been thinking. I was like, I was thinking to myself when I was doing this, I was like, man, this is a really big difference from the last time I had the wheel on trainer. But anyway, the other thing, of course, about this climb is how many switchbacks there are. When we did the reverse, it was mostly straight, a couple small curves. But the thing I remembered about doing it the front way on the Hell of the North and toward Zwift was like there's so many switchbacks. And even then, I was still surprised at how many more switchbacks there were to go. I was like, every time I go to a switchback, I'd be like, surely there's only one or two to go. But every time I look at the map, and it's like, can't even see the finish line. So that was a little bit of a bummer. But we're struggling up the last climb here. I'm in 66. I'm like, gotta hold on to 71st. I was trying to count those dots on the mini map behind me. This guy, I don't know how he had the energy for that massive attack right at the end of the race. That was really impressive. But I was trying to count the riders behind me and make sure I could still hold on to my goal, which was top half. On this flat section, yeah, I wasn't going to catch up to the group in front of me. I think I had shifted down, or I stayed in the second lowest gear. But yeah, just trying to get back in the draft in this flatter section and then do whatever I could at the end. And yeah, I think at the very end, the steepest part, again, I did try to put in a little bit more of a dig to pass some people. At this point, yeah, I was still looking behind me. I knew there were at least 3 people there, so I was like, I can't let all of them pass me. Just gotta empty the tank all the way to the finish line. I didn't try to steer on this ascent. I did do some steering on the descent. But anyway, coming up to the final finish line, trying to do a sprint, 100 RPM. I've been at 100 RPM the whole climb, sprinted the climb, and end up finishing in 68th. So, definitely a sort of, I guess, reality hitting me in the face there that I definitely have a long way to go in terms of endurance. Yeah, this was a 50-minute race compared to the first race of the Zwift games, which was, I think, first one was 31 minutes including the cooldown. So yeah, probably 25 minutes for the Kaze kicker, or Case kicker, however it's pronounced. So double the length already, and then next week is even longer. If we can look that up, let's see. Zwift games 6. Yeah, so next week, this is gonna be rough. We have this one here, 3 Stepsisters. So it has this first climb is not too bad. The second climb is the one we did in a Tour de Zwift stage. That was the Ocean Lava Cliffside Loop. So that was the one where we go up that bridge and we do that steep climb there, and then we go down that, and then we come back around. Then we do the grade, which is a longer climb by far than the one I did today. So this is probably going to end up being about an hour and 15, hour and 20. If I totally collapse, an hour and 30-minute race. I'm not sure what day I'm going to do that one. We'll see how I feel, how things go next week. Probably try to get it done early, though. And then, yeah, I guess we can look at some analysis here. So this was the, on Strava, the overall, I did okay. Cat 5, it says, the start pens to the Petite KOM banner, that one was okay. That was the reverse KOM. Average 242 watts up that one, and then the Petite KOM, I didn't even do as well as I did last time in stage 4. It was about 25 seconds slower. When I did it that time, it was 243 watts, so about what I did up the first climb here. But I mean, on the other hand, it was definitely like a different stage beforehand, right? Like this one, you know, it was only, what time is this? 25 minutes before that compared to this time where it was 45 minutes before it. So 20 minutes fresher, not having that one climb in the legs. I think it's understandable that I did this one slower. But, you know, good days, bad days, good weeks, bad weeks. Still, the jury's out on whether the wheel-on trainer was juicing my numbers a little bit. I think it might have been. But on the other hand, I did set a new 20-minute power record with the numbers from the power pedals. So maybe it was juicing them a little bit, hopefully not too much. But I am at least still setting new power records, so it's not like I haven't gotten stronger at all. But we'll see how it goes. And because I don't learn anything, I'm going to be doing my group ride again tomorrow. So hopefully I can go a little bit easier and recover better and not finish dead last in the next race. But we'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.